Moving to our devotional for today. These devotionals have been so good. They've inspired me. Let me put this on the screen so you guys can see it. And share screen. There it is. All right. So today the title is Your Brain Loves Familiar Paths. Your brain loves familiar paths. Yesterday we talked a lot about your brain and the way that it works and looking for things to validate the emotion that you have. And today we're just going to kind of talk about it likes to be able to be in routine. It likes to know what's coming up. It likes to know what it needs to do. So the verse today is, do not be conformed, but be transformed. In Romans 12:2, don't be conformed by the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So God help me recognize the patterns my mind has grown used to and give me courage to build new ones. It's not that the patterns, necessarily all the patterns that you have in your brain are bad, because they're not. We have patterns like right now. We have a pattern that says that we're going to get up every single morning and we're going to go through our day and we're going to do some of the things we're doing. We have patterns of saying that we love our children, that we spend time with our children, that we have to hug our children. We have the times that we say to ourselves that we are a good person, that we do good, that we're here for a purpose. So there are good patterns that we have in our days. If we're working on our food and our nutrition and we know what's right to put into our body, we have those good patterns. So I'm not saying that the patterns are all bad. But if we're always trying to grow, if we're always becoming the person, then we have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind and the things that become complacent, the things that become just I guess, situations that just occur all the time. Because the example that was given to me a long time ago is that if you look at a flower is either growing or it's dying. It's either blooming and turning into this beautiful thing, and then once it's turned into this beautiful thing, then it wilts and it dies and then it renews again, because it's always growing. So we in ourselves, and whether it's our mind or our bodies or whatever it is, we are always either growing or dying. The truth is, the mind often returns to what's familiar, even when familiar is unhealthy. This is why old thought patterns can feel neutral, even when they are harmful. Renewal takes intention because the familiar path is so much easier. It's what our brain wants to do, right? Example, a person who has a thought in shame for years may return there automatically, even after they have learned better truth. Our brain fights us a lot of times, and our mind fights us a lot of times to get back to where it was easy. It's easy to fall into complacency. It's easy to fall into the old patterns. It's easy to fall into things that are not good for us. Right? It takes a while to get there. Every habit that you've ever grown, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, took a minute to get there. But once you're there and you've done it over and over again, it becomes easier. It becomes a default for your mind. I remember recognizing that some of my thought patterns did not feel strong because they were right. They felt strong because they were familiar. That was a sobering realization. There were mental roads I had traveled so many times that my mind went there automatically. Not because they were holy, not because they were wise, just because they were worn in. Fear felt familiar, pressure felt familiar, self-criticism felt familiar. And what God began showing me was that freedom does not always feel natural at first. Sometimes peace feels unfamiliar because chaos has so much practice that gave me grace for the process. I stopped assuming that the stronger thought was the truer thought. Sometimes it was just the older one. Sometimes it was, okay, hey God, this is what I want you to do this morning. This is how I want you to bless me. This is what I do. I say the same prayer every single day. Then I walk out the door. But until I started growing in my faith, until I started growing in my maturity, until I started growing and saying, dear Lord, how do I serve others today? that's when it became a little bit transforming because I had to find new ways and new pathways in order to become that person. Here's what's happening in our mind. In our mind inside that's here is the brain conserves energy by using established patterns. Whenever possible, familiar neutral routes are easier to access because they have been reinforced over time. New patterns require more conscious effort at first. This is one reason change can feel so awkward and unnatural in the beginning. It is not yet the brain's preferred route. With practice, however, new pathways can become more available. It's so amazing to, when I was doing science, and I don't know if you guys remember science in high school or whenever you did it, they talked about the dendrites and building new pathways and your cognitive overload and all the heck thing you go with it. And I'm going to use that word, and how it works and how it operates. And, you become familiar with an unfamiliar area, and then your brain says that everything is okay. You remember the first time that you've ever walked into a new situation, like a place that you didn't know, like you didn't know how to get around, and when you first got a job and you were kind of like, okay, what do I do, where do I go, how do I get there? And then after time you can go back there every single time. You know all the hallways, you know all the rooms, you know all the office spaces. You walk there without even thinking. You move in, you see things, and it's so familiar, and your brain doesn't even, at some point, it gets to the point you don't even have to think about where you're going. When you move to a new home and you're trying to figure out how do I get there, and what's the best way to get to my house. And I think about that when somebody's coming to my house now that's new, and they go, man, I'm so lost because there's some twists and some turns where my home is. It could be different, or it would be impossible to figure out how to get to it. But over time, you just start driving, and you are thinking about something else by the time you actually get there. So what the heart connection today is that familiar does not always mean it's healthy. Just because you know it in its routine doesn't make it healthy. But familiar thought patterns you need to stop calling normal. I want to get to a time where we continue to move forward every day that we do this, but I don't want it to ever feel like, oh, this is not helping us. This is not transforming our mind. So when an old thought pattern shows up today, say, this is familiar, but it's not where I have to stay. And this is obviously one that you want to improve. I want to know how to get to my house. That thought pattern is important to have and to keep there, right? But the other ones, there might be a thought pattern, oh man, I'm just starting another podcast and I already know the questions that I'm going to ask. So how do I make sure that every one that I do is renewed? God help me to break agreement and help the familiar pattern to build new paths. May your mind be encouraged to move old paths and grow stronger and new. Our questions today: do you think people confuse familiar? Do you think people confuse familiar with what is true? The old mental pattern is the hardest to break. The ones are the hardest to break. The ones that we have our entire lives. Why does new thinking feel awkward? Because we haven't grown the familiar pattern yet. So I'll put these in the comments so that you will have them, so that you can dwell on them if you want. Make sure that we're there. Now let's move into